Joan Betts, it's a privilege to have you here at Laguna Beach at our little studio today. And you're very inspirational with your art.
Thank you. Yes.
So where did it all start?
Well, it started when I was young because I had a very artistic mother who raised me in the hippie era of the 70s.
Uh-oh.
So I had this fabulous mother who always had a pen in her purse and a piece of paper. So we went anywhere I was drawing. And then she always had historical type of books that were at the house. So I would always have art books flourished around me.
That's awesome. Let's take a look at this first piece of art. Do you consider yourself an abstract artist, or what do you consider?
Definitely a classical realism, because I definitely have a perfectionist eye.
Realism, you got it perfectly on the hand. And this very first piece, what is the story behind it?
Well, the story is a very world-renowned story. It's actually the story about a fisherman named Peter who is actually drowning in the ocean, and he's crying out for help and salvation. And here comes the hand of Jesus and coming and pulling him out.
That's so awesome, and I love the fact that the depth is amazing on this piece.
Thank you.
It's like there's bubbles and lines, and you can see the muscles and the grips. It's just really, really a super strong, inspirational piece. Whatever you want to call it. It does really talk to you. It's kind of a neat piece.
Thank you.
This next one, though, is something else. And you told me that the story about the sun, and I want you to share that with everybody.
Okay. Well, as most people try very hard to, they cannot visually look at the sun as much as they would love to, but on a sunset, when it's actually hitting the horizon, your naked eye could actually look and admire the sunset. And that's how I feel when it comes to deep things in my heart. And I believe as an artist, you're seeing the window into my heart. So with that sunset, I actually feel like I see the face of God. And there's something about it when you can, you don't know of this invisible God, but then there's a glimpse of him that you can see with your naked eye. And that's how I visualize the sunset. And that's why I call it He Shines, We Glisten.
So basically, we're getting very inspirational into you when we see your art.
Yes, you are.
This next piece is a good example of that one. This ship in the water and the movement. And I'm a big time, I love the ocean. So when I saw this, I was excited.
It's called Moving Forward. And I believe like those big old ships, they reek of history. And I just see myself as one of those big ships. And I see myself as one of those people that is struggling through life, just trying to get to port. And so, and you see these big ships, and I just know that there's an inspiration behind these big ships. They tell so much about them. There's a story in each corner of a ship. And so for me, I can see myself trying to make it to port by the grace of God with the crew, which the people I love helping me get there.
And that's where the history comes in, because those history books are definitely paying off in this piece.
Amen.
And this next piece, I love hot air balloons. So you had me when I saw this one. I kind of wanted it to be first, but I was outvoted. So, but I love hot air balloons. And the story behind this one.
Well, the story behind this one is I had a friend who had multiple dreams of flying over the ocean in a hot air balloon. And what attracted me to her story was that she is a singer, and she's this beautiful singer. And I remember watching her sing, and the people around me, she's a gospel singer, so the people around me are crying and sobbing, but yet there's something lifted when she sings. And I correlate her dreams as she's the one who is raising our spirits high. And this is her dream. So I've adapted that to the painting.
And I love the fact that the clouds really set. A lot of times when you put a sky behind them, it just doesn't work. But I can see the depth going back, the ones that are close, the ones that are farther and farther. And then the clouds are above them. I could see that the clouds are above them. And the ocean's moving and breaking it. And the cliffs really, really nice.
Thank you.
Let's look at the next piece of art and our final piece with you today.
Okay.
Ooh, big oak tree and a swing. It reminds me back in Illinois when this is the only swing we could afford as kids on the farm.
Yeah, this painting got inspired by a friend of mine who basically was going through a lot of struggles. The day I envisioned her with a swing in this tree, the day we were talking, and this cardinal right in above the swing. She had said her mother had passed and she collected cardinals. It was just an inspiring note to know that God wanted to tell her that he was thinking of her on the day that her mom passed. And we started to talk about how she just loved the birds and the trees, and she was super inspired by this piece. So what I did is actually drew 7 birds for 7 nations, and the owl represents the wisdom of the nations. And so there's a lot of backstory in this, but the most popular story is the parable of the mustard seed. And I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but how it starts as this little tiny thing and it grows into a magnificent tree.
Oh, it does. And this reminds me of, especially the sunset and the tree. And I love the owl up there. He's kind of like overseeing everybody, making sure they all stay in line. Yeah. Because he's the only one that's got a brain. The other one's going to probably get in a little bit of trouble. And I love the flowers in the foreground.
Thank you.
You did great separations, great technique on the tree. I love this piece. But then you capture me with, you like those bright colors. And I'm one of these people that just loves oranges and reds and colors like that. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you in here sharing your story, sharing your feelings, and sharing your inspiration. And I can't wait to see more.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.
Appreciate it.